What's up guys, it's Jonathan with ACS Composite. I bet you're wondering where Joseph is. Don't worry, we're resting his voice in preparation for our new product we're coming out with, the C8 Z06 and E-Ray front splitter. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you get notified when that's out. I'm here though to talk about a new rock guard for the C7 Corvette. I'll be going over all our different Corvette rock guard options for the C7, and I'll also be installing the new version on this C7 Stingray. So stay tuned. Okay, so first up we have our enhanced splash guard. This was our first rock guard we ever made 10 years ago today. It's really our first iteration, our first attempt at making plastic injection parts. It really set the tone for the rest of our product line and really gave birth to the whole entire product line of the Corvette. So we have this part to thank for that. It's made out of PC composite. It's really strong still to this day. It's easy to install. You'll see the first thing you notice, there's 3 holes on it. That is because we reuse the 3 T15 screws that hold your fender liner inside the wheel well. You'll just remove those, put this in place, reattach it, and you'll be good to go. It comes out of the mold just like this. It's in like a textured finish. Think of like that front fender extension on the Grand Sport or Z06. It really does tie in well with that. We made this back in 2014, so at the time we didn't see what the Z06 would look like. So this was really modeled after the Stingray, so it really fits that body line. We tend to recommend this to guys that have maybe not so many mods on their Stingrays, because this kind of just blends in, offers great protection while not really distracting from the rest of the car. I'm going to go ahead and measure each one of them too as well, so you can make the best choice and see which one would work for you. So let's go ahead and measure that. So let's have our micrometer here. I'm just going to measure the part that sticks from the outside and where it reaches to. And I'm just over 1 1/4 inches. So you're getting basically, once it's installed, you're really just seeing that portion that's coming out. So about 1 1/4 sticking out. And you can also upgrade it to a carbon flash finish here. We basically paint this exposed edge. So when you see it installed, you just see that nice carbon flash finish, which is going to match all that trim on your car. A few years later, we came out with the XL version. You obviously can't feel it through the video, but they're a lot more rigid. You can tell they're thicker than the previous enhanced version. This was basically an answer to the call that we got from customers that were looking for something a bit more comprehensive, more protection, more bang for their buck. So we came out with this XL rock guard. You might notice the first thing is that there's no longer the 3 holes in the part. That's because we're now reusing the same mounting system that GM uses, which is the mounting slots along the front fender. So you'll see that once we get to the installation. But essentially you're removing the trim piece, positioning this and snapping it into place. The beauty about this rock guard in particular is that the tabs are all integrated. We give you the OEM clips as well, so you don't have to transfer the clips from one rock guard to the other, which is something you might see on some other competitor products. And also, we don't have a mounting flange here. So basically, some of them have a 2-part assembly where a bracket gets put onto the rock guard. And what tends to happen is over time, that bracket tends to fail. It'll peel away and this can fall off the car. So now everything's integrated into one single unit. You never have to worry about it failing. It's gonna be there forever. Again, these are made out of PC composite, just like our enhanced splash guards. They natively come carbon flash black, so they'll always be in this nice, beautiful metallic finish. We've also enhanced the protection by adding what we call a bladed shield along the side here. This sort of enhances and encapsulates the rocks, so when they're rolling around and rotating around the wheel, they're kind of getting trapped here and staying inside the wheel well, just furthering your protection. Finally, let's go ahead and measure it and compare the differences between this one and the enhanced. So again, we'll take this. This one's much larger. I think it's almost double, but we'll confirm that here. Yeah, I'm just under 2 1/4 inches. So you're getting a full extra inch with this one. So you're obviously getting that much more protection. Another great part about the XL is that we actually do offer a rear matching version for the back. So the enhanced doesn't have a matching rear, it's only for the front. So this kind of completes that look, gives you that complete look. Doesn't look like you're missing something in the back and your front is just a little bit wider than your rear. So it gets a nice full comprehensive protection, as I mentioned earlier. And finally, we have our 5.1 rock guard. So this is 10 years after the enhanced rock guard. You can see there is a resemblance to them. We haven't really changed much of the outer portion. When you measure it, when I measure it for you, you'll see that they're pretty much identical, but you can see that in 10 years, we've sort of taken all the technology and what we've learned over the years and applied it to this newer version. So again, there's no more 3 holes here. We're using this integrated clip system that we really loved from the XL version. Again, it's PC composite, but it's a thicker plastic too. Even the part thickness is much thicker than the enhanced version. And these will also come always pre-painted in a carbon flash black finish. And we've also included a rear version, so that you'll also now get a front version of this and a rear version, so then you have that more cohesive packaging. A good feature I really like about this is we've taken that bladed shield technology, implemented it here. It's a much more smaller and more reserved compared to the XL, but it's got this nice little feature in here on the indent. It just kind of looks more elegant, more elevated from the previous version. And all around the edges are much crisper, sharper, and it's just a beautiful finish on it. So let's go ahead and measure this as well. And I'm also going to measure the part thickness too, because I did mention that to you. And I think that's an important thing to note. So I'm just taking the inner wall here, measuring it, and I'm basically maybe 1/8 of an inch, 0.12. And if I was to compare it to the enhanced, I go down all the way down to 0.066. So it's almost triple the thickness, which is pretty interesting. You can feel it again in the rigidity of it. It's just an all-around much better product. Hard to knock on a 10-year-old product, but still, it's nice to see where we've came from the beginning to the end. Now I just want to talk about sort of which one's the best for you. We get this question a lot, which rock guard should I choose? You know, I have a Stingray, I have a Grand Sport Z06, ZR1, which one is the best option? Really, it's going to come down to your build, how you're building your Corvette, your type of style, and also like the roads you drive on. If you have sort of a more northern climate where you're experiencing those winter months, they're cleaning the roads, they're salting them, maybe putting rocks, you want to have something a bit more chunkier, a bit more protective oriented. So then I would start thinking about the XL. You're going to get a lot more coverage with it. It's going to just really protect your Corvette in the end. If you have a Stingray and you have really no mods on it and you're not really a show goer and you're not really thinking about putting mods on it, then maybe the XL is probably a bit too large for you. It kind of gives you those ear looks in the front. So then I would probably start considering the enhanced. Bang for your buck, it's not going to break your bank. It's not going to really detract away from the rest of your build. It's still going to give you great protection, and then it's something you just have to buy, you don't have to think about. It's a pretty good option. If you're somewhere in between where you like showing your car, you're worried about how it's going to look, if it's going to look too much like a truck flap or whatnot, then the 5.1 really answers that call. It kind of sits in between the two of the enhanced and the XL. It's a nicer finish, it's got the carbon flash on it, it's worthy enough to sit at a show and win you lots of prizes, and it's also going to protect your Corvette, which is really the most important thing in the end. For those bigger models like the Z06 and ZR1 and Grand Sport with the wider, all these options are valid. I think your choice then becomes either the XL or the 5.1, simply because this was designed with a Z06, the XL. It's a much wider car, so you're probably going to want that extra protection, but if you find it's too big for you still, then this is equally a great option as well. So next we're going to go ahead and install the 5.1 on this Stingray. Like I said, we're going to see how they install. I'm going to put on the front and the rear, because there's also something about in the rear I want to show you, so make sure you stick around. So I'm ready to install the 5.1 rock guard. You only need one tool for this. It's a 7mm ratchet or a socket. What's also really handy is a trim tool like this, so you can pry out the bezel here. You're gonna see it's clipped in, and just so you don't damage your paint, it's nice to get it out. The 7mm bolt is located under here, so you just need to locate it, get your ratchet, your swivel, or your socket, and get to unloosening. Keep the screw, you're gonna need it. Next, we're gonna pry out the OEM trim bezel, or if you have an existing splash guard, you'll need to get that removed as well. So it's held in by 3 clips. I kind of like going from the top and then just prying it out. There you go, pull it out. And gives you a nice opportunity to clean the inside of your fender liner. So I have some Renew product here. Just give it a little spray and a wipe down. Before I go ahead and put these on, I guess I'll just point out the T15 screws that I mentioned for the enhanced splash guards. These are what you'll be removing. So you'll take out that trim bezel. There's 3 screws here. You just remove those screws, put the mud flap, reattach those screws. I'll put links in the description below for those install videos if you're curious about checking those out as well. I have one for the enhanced and the XL rock guards. So next, there's a little tongue piece on the 5.1 rock guard. That goes inside this little hole here in the liner. So you just put that in and then line up the clips. Clips are now lined up. I'm going to apply pressure from the bottom and work my way up. A little final press. And then we just got to attach the 7mm bolt underneath and we're done. We can appreciate there's no visible screws here. It looks a little bit more integrated. That nice little feature I was talking about here, a little bit of a pocket, just gives it a nice little extra detail. And it'll give you all this nice protection here so you can protect all this paint along the side here. So we'll move on to the rear and get those installed. All right, we're in the back of the Stingray now, getting ready to install the rears. I didn't show these too much in the beginning, but here they are. They just sort of look similar to the front, so they still got the nice feature in the back. They're a little thinner profile, but still the same thickness, same coverage, mounting clips. You'll notice on ours, compared to the OEM bezel, when we remove it, we've deleted the clip in this region just because we don't need it. Our clips are strong enough to hold it all, plus the 7 at the bottom really locks it in. Again, these are carbon flash. You can always see the sparkle in the paint with a little bit of a flashlight test. It's always fun to do. So let's go ahead and remove the bezel first. There's a series of 7s here. You want the one that's on the most extreme over here. So we're gonna remove that first. Retain the screw. Again, trim bezel remover, plastic trim tool. I start from the front, from the top. Remove the bezel. See all the debris that's built up over the years, so we're going to go ahead and clean that as well. Another great thing about the 5.1 rock guards is that we designed it to work really well with our rear fascia extensions. So you get this nice cohesive look from the top of the rear fascia all the way down. Traditionally, if you just had the GM splash guard, they weren't wide enough, so they'd kind of end about halfway through the rear fascia extension. This way now you have this more of a continued extension. Works well with our 5.1, works great with our XL as well. So something to consider as a nice upgrade is these rear fascia extensions. So let's go ahead and put these on now. There's this little tab here, which is where the 7mm is going to thread through. You might not see it as well, but underneath the rear fascia, you want this tab to be on the inside of it, so not the outside. You're going to thread that through. So I'm going to do that right now, while also lining up the clips. So I haven't fully clipped them in yet, making sure that the tab is inserted. And I'm going to go ahead and clip now. I support the back of the rear fascia just in case you give me a little extra pressure. Sometimes you might have to do it, sometimes you will, or might not have to rather, depending on the age of the car and how often these have been removed and stuff. But these are officially on. I'm gonna go now underneath and just thread the 7mm and complete the install. So you might not immediately see the hole. You're just gonna have to put your hand here and apply some pressure towards the inside. That way it'll just kind of push the tab. So you can see now that I can expose the hole. I'll put the 7mm in and then tighten it. And the installation is complete. All right guys, we made it to the end. We got the fronts on and the rears on of the 5.1 rock guards. We'll take the car off the lift and take some shots in a bit. Before we do that though, we'll just do a quick recap of what we learned today. We went over our 3 rock guards that we have. We had our first generation enhanced splash guards. This was our first option ever introduced in 2014. It's a very minimal setup, easy to put on, doesn't really distract away from the car. Great for guys that are not too concerned about going to car shows and showing off the car. They're just daily driving the car. Maybe they're a Stingray with not a lot of mods. It's a great option for you. It doesn't break the bank as well. Then we have the intermediary, newest version, the 5.1 rock guards, which is a improvement of that previous design, now in carbon flash. Same size though, installs with the integrated clips, available in the rear as well for a complete package. Great if you are a show goer, but also daily your car, so you have a bit of the best of both worlds with a nice setup, nice looking, as well as getting that protection. And then finally our XL rock guards, our biggest offering, largest size for both the front and the rear, available in carbon flash. Obviously this might be more tailored for someone with a Grand Sport or a Z06 or a ZR1, someone with a wider body, or a Stingray with lots of mods. And when I say lots of mods, I mean things like having side skirts on, having maybe fender extensions, having a larger front splitter in the front, so that you don't have like these big ears coming out the side, if you will. But so check out the XLs as well. And finally, they work both beautifully well with our rear fascia extensions, as you saw in the rear. So consider that as an extra product that you might want to dress up the back of your car. As always, we'll put the links to those other install videos for the enhanced and the rock guard in our description below, as well as links to the products so you can check them out on our website. Finally, make sure you subscribe so you can be notified when that Z06 front splitter video comes out. Until next time, take care.